Imagine waking up in a world where 20% more people choose to get around on bicycles, and correspondingly, there is a 20% drop in the number of trips taken by car. At first glance, this might sound like a minor shift in commuting habits, but in reality, such a change could ripple through almost every part of modern life. From urban planning and environmental policy to the auto industry, oil markets, public health, and even the way we design our neighborhoods. A 20% swing in travel habits is far from trivial. It's a transformation that could reshape cities, economies, and lifestyles in profound ways. One of the most immediate and noticeable effects would be the reduction in traffic congestion. Cars take up significant space not just when they are moving, but also when they are parked. By replacing 20% of these trips with bicycles, cities would experience a dramatic easing of road congestion during peak hours. The morning and evening rush might still exist, but the gridlocks, honking horns, and long queues at traffic lights would be noticeably less severe. This reduction would save millions of collective hours every year, translating into improved productivity for workers and lower stress levels for commuters. Moreover, fewer cars on the road would reduce wear and tear on infrastructure, allowing municipalities to redirect road maintenance funds toward other projects like expanding bike lanes or improving public transportation. Environmental impact would also be immediate. Cars are among the largest contributors to urban greenhouse gas emissions, releasing carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter into the air. If 20% of these car trips disappeared, replaced by zero-emission cycling, the reduction in air pollution could be dramatic. Cities plagued by smog could see clearer skies and improved air quality indexes. The decrease in tailpipe emissions would also help combat climate change by cutting millions of tons of CO2 annually. This environmental gain would not just be a victory for the climate, it would also translate into better respiratory health for city dwellers, with lower rates of asthma, heart disease, and other pollution-related conditions. The health benefits wouldn't stop at cleaner air. Cycling is a form of exercise that engages multiple muscle groups, strengthens the cardiovascular system, and burns calories. If 20% more people started riding regularly, the average population's physical activity level would surge. Public health experts estimate that even moderate cycling for a few hours a week can significantly reduce the risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. A fitter population would put less strain on healthcare systems, potentially saving billions in medical costs over time. The shift to cycling could therefore act as a preventive healthcare measure on a massive scale. Economically, such a change would shake multiple industries. The automotive sector would feel a pinch, with reduced demand for new vehicles, parts, and related services like oil changes, tire replacements, and car insurance. Gasoline sales would drop significantly, impacting oil companies and reducing fuel tax revenues for governments. However, this economic contraction in the automotive and oil sectors would be counterbalanced by growth in other areas. The bicycle manufacturing industry would likely see a boom, from high-end road bikes to affordable commuter models. Bicycle repair shops, accessory manufacturers, and cycling apparel companies would flourish. Local economies could also benefit as cyclists tend to make more frequent, smaller purchases from neighborhood shops, compared to drivers who might do larger, less frequent trips to big box stores. Urban planning would undergo a renaissance. The increased demand for safe cycling infrastructure would push cities to expand bike lanes, add bike-only traffic signals, and install more secure parking for bicycles. Some streets might be redesigned entirely, prioritizing cyclists and pedestrians over motor vehicles. Cities like Amsterdam and Copenhagen already serve as examples of how integrated cycling infrastructure can coexist with other forms of transport while boosting livability. As more people cycle, there would be greater political will to repurpose car-dominated spaces into mixed-use areas, plazas, and green corridors. This could foster stronger community ties and make urban spaces more inviting. The reduction in car usage would also influence energy consumption patterns. With fewer cars consuming gasoline and diesel, national oil demand would decline. This could help countries dependent on oil imports reduce their vulnerability to global oil price shocks. At the same time, reduced fuel demand might push oil prices down, potentially challenging the economies of oil-exporting nations. On the flip side, the energy savings could be redirected into renewable energy projects or used to accelerate the electrification of remaining car fleets, further amplifying the environmental benefits. Safety is another area where the benefits could be substantial. While cyclists are more vulnerable in accidents than drivers, overall road fatalities and serious injuries might still decline because fewer cars mean fewer opportunities for high-speed, high-impact collisions. The key would be to improve infrastructure to protect cyclists, separated bike lanes, lower speed limits in urban areas, and public education campaigns about sharing the road. Over time, as cycling becomes more common, drivers would become more accustomed to looking out for bicycles, further improving safety. Culturally, the shift could change how people view travel itself. Cycling encourages a slower, more connected way of moving through a city. Riders can stop easily to chat with friends, explore side streets, or visit small businesses they might otherwise pass by in a car. This could help foster a sense of local identity and belonging, reinforcing community bonds. Cycling also tends to democratize transportation. It's accessible to people of many income levels, reducing transportation inequality and giving more people affordable mobility options. The environmental ripple effects could extend beyond the city. Reduced car travel means fewer road expansions into natural habitats, helping preserve biodiversity. The drop in noise pollution from fewer engines would make urban and suburban areas more pleasant places to live, improving overall quality of life. Even wildlife in rural and peri-urban areas might benefit from reduced vehicle traffic and roadkill incidents. However, this transition wouldn't come without challenges. Weather, topography, and safety concerns could limit cycling adoption in some regions. Rural areas, where distances between destinations are far greater, might see less dramatic benefits compared to densely populated cities. There would also be resistance from industries and workers whose livelihoods depend on car travel and oil consumption. Policymakers would need to plan for a just transition, offering retraining programs, subsidies for e-bike purchases, and investments in complementary public transport systems. In addition, the cycling boom could strain existing infrastructure if cities aren't prepared. Without adequate bike lanes and parking, the increased number of riders could lead to conflicts with pedestrians and drivers, as well as theft concerns. Addressing these issues would require foresight and investment, but the long-term payoffs in reduced congestion, cleaner air, healthier populations, and more livable cities would likely outweigh the costs. On a global scale, if this 20% shift were mirrored in many countries, the combined effect could be staggering. Global oil demand would drop sharply, potentially hastening the decline of fossil fuel dominance. This could accelerate international efforts to combat climate change and encourage more sustainable urban planning worldwide. Cycling culture could become a defining feature of 21st century cities, much like the car culture defined much of the 20th century. In the long term, the mindset shift from car dependency to multimodal active transportation could pave the way for even bigger transformations. Autonomous vehicle fleets, expanded public transit, and walkable city designs could all integrate with a strong cycling culture, creating resilient, low-carbon transportation systems capable of meeting the challenges of climate change, urbanization, and population growth. By starting with something as simple as riding a bike instead of driving a car for 20% more of our trips, we could set in motion a cascade of benefits that extend far beyond individual commutes. Ultimately, the story of a 20% shift from cars to bikes isn't just about transportation. It's about reimagining how we live, work, and connect with our environment. It's a vision of cleaner air, quieter streets, healthier bodies, stronger communities, and more sustainable economies. While achieving it would require political will, cultural openness, and smart investments, the rewards would be immense, and they'd be shared by everyone, cyclist or not.